The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Thursday edition of Running Points on YSNLive.com. Ron Potesta with you, feeling busier than I-10 traffic in Southern California. Don't know if anyone's familiar with the I-10 or the 401 in Southern California, but it's bumper-to-bumper traffic. It's always busy. Anyway, we're busy. We're here for the next 3 hours. Going to be talking about nothing but sports and a bunch of stuff to get to. Coming up on the show today, we will hear from the voice of the YSU men's basketball team, Rob Schmidt. He'll stop by via the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. The Horizon League schedule came out, and again, the schedules are going to be COVID-friendly, where each team will be playing 2 games in a row against a member of their own league. So the Horizon League will be a 20-game schedule where you will play your league 2 games each against the same opponent. So Saturday and a Sunday, YSU would play Wright State. And then another Saturday and Sunday, they would play Cleveland State. And it just back-to-back games, and it will be a 10-week thing where you'll have 2 games a week, league games a week, and they will be played on Saturday and Sunday or Friday and Saturday, but mainly Saturday and Sunday. Same thing for the YSU women as well. They you will not see – so if Youngstown State plays Wright State and they're playing them at the Nutter Center in Dayton, then Wright State does not come to Youngstown State. If you play up at Cleveland State doesn't return the favor. So anywhere the Penguins go this year, they're playing 2 games, back-to-back games. We had a little conversation about this with John Vargo, the lack of respect that the Horizon League shows the men's basketball program continues to rear its ugly head. Of the first 10 conference games, 8 of the first 10 will be played on the road. So five sets of 2 games each against 5 conference opponents. 4 of those 5 conference opponents are going to be on the road. Now, the good news is, second half of the season, 4 of the 5 conference opponents are going to be home. But you have an opportunity, or if you don't get the job done on the road, you could really bury yourself. So the first 10 games, obviously, for the Penguins are going to be monster-sized because if they can go bare minimum 5-5 on the road and then hold serve at home, okay, now you're looking at a 15-5, 14-6 record. It's not bad. I'll take it, and they may very well finish in the top 2 with a 15-5 record, maybe 14-6. Who knows? So we'll talk with Rob Schmidt about that. We also have the women's schedule, and Rob will talk about the women's schedule as well. He is coming up at 1 o'clock. Coming up at 1:30, we will hear from the head football coach of the JFK Eagles, Dom Prologo. Will be chiming in. JFK has a meeting in the regional finals on Friday nights at Mollenkopf as they take on the defending Division 7 Region 25 champions, the Lucas Cubs. And we will hear from the head football coach of Warren JFK, Dom Prilogo, at 1:30. Coming up at 2 o'clock this afternoon, we will hear from the head football coach of the Canfield Cardinals, Mike Pavlansky. The Cardinals, they have a regional championship on the line. By the way, this is I want to say the third time in 4 years that the Canfield Cardinals are playing for a regional championship. 2017, they played for a regional championship in Salem against Akron St. Vincent St. Mary and lost that game. 2018, they played for a regional championship against Kenston and were defeated in that game as well. Mike Pavlansky, his team is going to be taking on the Chardon Hilltoppers. That game is going to be played up in Chardon on Friday night. By the way, a little bit of research, because I love doing this stuff. It seemed to me, and I thought, that Canfield had played Chardon recently, and they did, in the regular season. I was almost certain that they played a home-and-home with Chardon early on. They did. Canfield, in week number 3 of the 2017 season, went to Chardon, and they defeated Chardon 31-14. This was the year in which Canfield was undefeated, had an undefeated regular season, won their first 2 playoff games in the 8-team format, went to the regional championship game against Akron St. Vincent St. Mary in Salem, and were beaten by Akron St. V. So Canfield that year, Chardon didn't go to the playoffs that year. They finished 6-4 that year. But Canfield went to them and belted them 31-14 in week number 3. 1 year later, another week 3 matchup down in Canfield. Chardon was 6-4 in the regular season. I beg your pardon, 7-3 in the regular season. They went to the playoffs. They were bounced in the first round in 2018. Chardon went to Canfield was 9-1 in the regular season. And again, they won their first 2 games in the playoffs, 8-team format, went to the regional championship game where they ultimately lost to Kenston. So Canfield had an 11-2 record in that 2018 campaign. But again, Canfield played Chardon in 2017 and 2018. Now, is there any historical reference for any of the players on the 2020 team? There could be. Let me explain. The class of 2021, which is the current senior class, they didn't play in this game in 2017. Those kids were 8th graders. They wouldn't have played this game. And truth be told, how many of the seniors, because, well, the juniors were in 8th grade, the sophomores were in 7th grade, the freshmen were in 6th grade when Canfield knocked off Chardon in 2018. Give everyone a little context of the last 2 meetings. The senior class, when these 2 teams met in 2017, weren't even in high school. And I think people need to probably remember this. Oh, yeah, we can sit back and say, hey, Canfield beat Chardon 2 years in a row, 2017 and 2018. However, 2017, the senior class of 2021 were in 8th grade. In 2018, the school played in this game against Chardon their freshman year. Now, judging by the score, 35-13, maybe there were a few. Maybe there were a few of those kids that had played. Now, unfortunately, that would be the only class. And the same goes for Chardon. That would be the only class because in 2018, the junior class, they're in 8th grade. The sophomore class was in 7th grade, and as I mentioned before, the freshman class was in 6th grade. But there is historical context in that Canfield knocked off Chardon in 2017 and 2018 in a home-and-home series. Week 3, Canfield went to Chardon in 2017, beat the Hilltoppers 31-14, and in 2018, 2 years ago, 3 graduating classes ago. Canfield defeated Chardon 35-13. These two teams have never played each other in the postseason. Chardon is 3-1 against the Valley team playoff game. I'm almost positive that they lost to Harding in a playoff game. They did. They lost to Harding 49-31 back in the 2016 season when Chardon was a Division II team as a Division II program. So they've been Division II until the last few years. They had been Division II. They've dropped down to Division III. And Canfield, as I mentioned, does not have a history against Chardon in the postseason. They played them twice in the regular season, beat them 2 times, one time in Week 3 of 2017 and the other time Week 3 in the 2018 campaign. So we will chat with Mike Pavlansky and talk a little bit about the showdown Friday night between Canfield and Chardon. Friday night at Chardon. That will be at 2 o'clock. Not the game, but our conversation with Mike Pavlansky. The game is going to be Friday night at 7 o'clock. 1:30 today, we'll chat with Don Prologo, the head football coach of the Warren JFK Eagles. He'll be our guest at 1:30. We will talk about JFK's matchup against the defending Division 7, Region 25 champion Lucas Cubs. We'll have that conversation at 1. That will be coming up at 1 o'clock. Okay, last night. Whew. We asked for an all-local matchup in Division 3 in the boys' soccer regional tournaments. And, well, we got it. Okay, round 1 of the South Range Kirtland trilogy. And in case you are not aware of this trilogy, the first time that and I've tried to rack my brain in the 40-some-odd years that I've followed high school sports in this area, I can't remember a time in which 2 schools played each other in 3 different sports during the course of 1 week, especially in the tournament. It's happened before where two schools play 2 different sports. I mean, hell, it happened last week. South Range boys beat Crestview in the district championship game in soccer, and then South Range went on to beat Crestview Saturday night in the what would that have been, the regional semifinals in football. So it's happened 2 different sports. I don't think it's ever happened, or if it has, I can't remember, where one school has played another school in 3 different sporting events throughout the same week. Anyway, round 1 of the trilogy goes to South Range. In double overtime, South Range defeats Kirtland 2-1. So South Range is going to move into the regional championship game where they're going to play Cardinal Mooney, who disposed of Norwayne pretty simply. 4-0 was the final score up at Creston. So this game is going to be played Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. over at South Range High School. Now, one would ask, because we had a report that the South Range Kirtland girls soccer regional game would be played at South Range on Saturday. Not the case. Went to the OHSAA website, and round 2 of the trilogy between South Range and Kirtland is actually going to be played at Menor High School, which is where round 3 of the trilogy is going to happen on the football field between South Range and Kirtland in the D5 Region 17 championship game. Now, I have no idea if Mentor has a soccer field all to their lonesome, separate from the football field. I have no idea. Well, it wouldn't surprise me because Mentor is one of the, let's say, wealthiest school districts in the state of Ohio. They certainly have a lot of really nice toys up in the eastern suburbs of Cleveland in Lake County. That's a phenomenal school system. And they got everything. They got everything. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do have a soccer field completely separate from the football stadium. But the South Range Kirtland round 2 of the trilogy, girls D3 soccer regional, is not being played at South Range High School. I want everyone to be aware of that. This game is going to be played Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. at Mentor High School. So I want to repeat this. The girls Division III soccer regional, round 2 of the trilogy between South Range and Kirtland, is going to be Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and this game is going to be played at Mentor High School. It is not going to be played at South Range High School because Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, South Range boys will be playing Cardinal Mooney in the regional championship game. I'm a little surprised that this game isn't being played at Farmers National Bank Field on the campus of Youngstown State University. However, as we looked at the OHSAA website, the top team in each of the regional draws got home field. The top team in each of the regional draws got home field. And it didn't matter whether the, quote, higher seed or lower seed in that top bracket won or lost. The top bracket was getting home field advantage. So in this case, South Range and Kirtland, that was the top bracket of the regional semifinals on the OHSAA website. So South Range defeating Kirtland in double overtime 2-1. The boys will be playing Cardinal Mooney, a 4-0 winner over Creston Norwayne, and that game is going to be played Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock at South Range High School. Now, the winner of that game, and we're happy to say that we now have a team guaranteed to go to the Division III state semifinals in boys soccer, and that's why I love an all-local matchup. Love me an all-local regional title matchup. It doesn't happen very often, but we get one here. And we get one in the regional championship game, so here we go. The winner of the Mooney South Range game is going to go to the state semifinals. Whoever wins Saturday's game between Mooney and South Range will get the winner of the Toledo Ottawa Hills Mount Blanchard Riverdale game. State semifinal game will be played on Wednesday, November the 11th at 7 p.m. Now, they have already said that this game is, they don't have a home for this game yet. They have a TBA next to it. So I don't know what they're waiting on. I'm going to assume that maybe they're waiting on who comes out of these games before they make the decision. I don't know. What I do know is when we looked on the OHSAA website today, Mooney is playing at South Range Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. And since we have an all-local regional championship game, that means that we have at least one program that's going to advance to the state semifinals in Division III soccer. So whoever wins the game on Saturday between Mooney and South Range is going to be taking on the winner of Toledo, Ottawa Hills, and Mount Blanchard Riverdale. That game will be played on Veterans Day /night, Wednesday, November the 11th at 7 p.m. at a site to be announced. So congratulations to South Range and Mooney getting the job done in the regional semifinals. They'll play each other in a regional championship game Saturday afternoon at South Range High School at 3 p.m. Also, congratulations to the Howland Tigers. Howland went up to Bay Village Baywatch and knocked off Bay Village Bay 1-0. They survive, and the Howland Tigers are in the regional championship game. They will have a home game as they take on Chagrin Falls, who knocked off Richland Revere 1-0. So a couple of 1-0 games. Howland will be hosting Chagrin Falls on Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. up at Howland High School. Whoever wins that game will be taking on the winner of Lexington and Lima Shawnee. And like the D3 soccer state semifinals, This game will be played on Veterans Day night, Wednesday night, November the 11th at 7 p.m. at a site to be announced later. Now, my guess is, unless they are planning on having the state semis and state championship game at a neutral site in Columbus, my guess is they'll have this game at the higher seed. Good luck trying to figure out who the higher seed is when you have regional champions. I mean, maybe it's if the regional champion happens to be a low seed and another regional champion happens to be a high seed, then they give the state semifinal to the higher seed. I don't know, and frankly, I'm not going to guess because I just don't know. What I do know is Howland is hosting a regional championship game in Division II soccer after an impressive victory over Bay Village Bay last night up at Bay Village Baywatch, 1-0. So Howland will be hosting Chagrin Falls Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. The winner of that game gets the winner of Lexington and Lima Shawnee. Veterans Day night, Wednesday night, November the 11th at 7 p.m. All right, tonight, let's start with Division III volleyball regional tournaments. We have, by the way, 3 teams left in our area as far as volleyball is concerned. Crestview will be taking on Smithville tonight at 8 o'clock. This is the second game. Game number 1 at Barberton High School. And if you guys are not aware where Barberton is, it's a little south and a little west of Akron. South and west of Akron. Not by much. Barberton's more of a bigger suburb of Akron, but it's a little south and it's a little west of Akron on 76. Anyway, Kirtland will be playing Independence at 5:30 in the regional semifinals from Barberton High School. And then at 8 o'clock tonight, Smithville will be taking on Crestview. If Crestview knocks off the Smitties, and no kidding, that's what they're called, the Smithville Smitties. I can't make that stuff up, I'm telling you. If Crestview knocks off Smithville, they would take on the winner of the Kirtland Independence game at Barberton High School on Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. And that's if Crestview knocks off Smithville. If Crestview doesn't win and they're eliminated, no offense to Kirtland Independence and Smithville, we really don't care because our local team would be bounced, and then good luck to whoever. Division IV volleyball regional tonight from Uniontown Lake High School. The 5:30 game, Wellsville will be taking on Monroeville. At 7:30 tonight, Dalton will be taking on Mineral Ridge. The winner of these 2 games will get together Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. for a regional championship game, and hopefully, fingers crossed, just like we accomplished last night, hopefully, fingers crossed, Wellsville gets to play Mineral Ridge for a regional championship. And again, the reason why all of this is happening, the reason why Wellsville and Mineral Ridge are still alive and not one team is because of the supersized districts, where 2 districts combined into one, and you picked up the champion in the top bracket and the champion in the bottom bracket, and then turn those 2 teams into the regionals. That's how they're doing this. My only guess is to save money in the COVID world. And by the way, there is a very real chance that you're going to be seeing the same thing in basketball, in boys and girls basketball. There's a very real chance that happens. As we move into the spring, depending on where we are in terms of trying to knock out and knock down and completely get rid of the coronavirus crap that we have right now, you could very easily have that in the spring sports as well, i.e. Softball and baseball. But that's way the hell down the road. What we're looking at right now is the fall sports. And as I mentioned, it's going to happen, or at least there is a very high probability of it happening in the winter sports, where girls basketball, boys basketball, you're going to have the same style of tournament. 2 districts mashed into one, top bracket, lower bracket, and there you go. Don't be a bit surprised if you see that for the winter sports. And again, assuming that we can't get a hold of or get rid of what we have right now with COVID. If we're where we are now, you can expect the winter sports to have the same style of tournament setup, where 2 districts combine into one. And in this particular case, as we do a long roundabout way of making the point, in this particular case, Wellsville and Mineral Ridge are 1 win away from meeting each other, instead of a district championship, meeting each other in a regional championship. Now, having said that, I'm going to ask, and look, I don't know what the OHSAA is thinking about, although I do have an idea that if it's an opportunity to make more money, they're going to do it because they're a business, and all businesses love money. I mean, let's be honest. And if it makes sense, why not? So let me ask you, are you, the fans, okay with the supersized district tournaments from here on out? Now, let me preface all of this by saying that I have no knowledge whether or not the OHSAA is going to make all of this permanent. I don't know. I mean, football is a lot different than the other sports, because you don't have everyone going to the playoffs in football. And as much as the state had speculated on, well, let's have an 8-game regular season and let's have everyone go to the playoffs, so it would be a 7-week format, so it would be 15 weeks. That's not going to happen. In 2021, the state is going to stay with the new format, which will be 12 teams per region. Top 4 teams finishing in the computer polls will get an automatic berth into the quarterfinals. And then you'll have first-round games set up to the quarterfinals. So it's an extra week of postseason, an extra week of the football season. So instead of 15 games for a state champion, now it's going to be 16 games. Whether they start the season 1 week early or end it 1 week late, I don't know, but the format is what the format is going to be, and that is next year we'll have 12 teams in each region going to the postseason. We will not have what we have right now. That's what I was told. But for the rest of these sports, where historically girls volleyball, girls basketball, boys basketball, girls softball, boys softball. Historically, all of these other sports that I just mentioned, everyone gets to play in a tournament. And they, as everyone should know by now, they have sectional and district tournaments. And up until this year, you had sectional and district tournaments for one district. And then that one district would get together with 3 other districts that encompass northeastern Ohio, and the district champions would play each other in a semifinal format where one district would play another district, one district would play another district, the 2 winners meet for the regional championship, the one winner goes to Columbus or wherever the state tournament is being held. That is how it has always been until this year. Now, I want to continue to say that it's only been in the fall that this has happened, where in girls volleyball, boys soccer, girls soccer, they have mashed 2 districts into one. And the new format is you get to pick or the top seeds get to pick. Okay, you want to go in the upper bracket or do you want to go in the lower bracket? And you have 2 district title holders, one upper bracket winner, one lower bracket winner. And that's where the 2 districts mash into one. Okay, upper, lower. The other 2 districts mash into one, upper, lower. And now you got your 4 regional teams. They meet each other in the regional semifinals, then they meet in the regional finals, and one team goes to the state semifinals. In this particular case, in Division III boys soccer, one of our local teams was in the top bracket. One of our local teams was in the bottom bracket. South Range played Kirtland last night. They beat them in double overtime. Mooney played Norwayne last night. They shut them out 4-0. South Range and Mooney are playing in a regional championship game where up until this year, they would be playing each other in a district championship game, and that would be the game. The winner of that game would go to the regionals. This year, because of the 2 districts combining into one, this game now has even more importance because the winner of this game, well, they don't go to a regional tournament. They go to the state Final Four. And again, Division IV volleyball, Wellsville and Mineral Ridge is 1 win away from doing exactly what we're seeing right now in boys D3 soccer. 2 local teams that would normally see each other in a district championship would be playing each other in a regional championship. Bigger deal. So let me ask, is this something that you would like to see permanent? Is this something that you wouldn't mind seeing on a permanent basis, where the 2 districts are mashed into one? And again, don't be a bit surprised. And all of this is contingent on whether or not we have a handle on COVID. Right now, we don't. If we do have a handle on COVID, maybe they go back to the same format in basketball. My guess is they're not. My guess is we're going to have 2 districts mashed into one in girls basketball as well as boys basketball. So my question is, seeing how this has worked right now, is this something that you would like to see on a permanent basis? Hit me up on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Again, coming up on the show today, Rob Schmidt. We'll talk with the voice of the YSU men's basketball program at 1 o'clock. We'll talk about the Horizon League's conference schedule for both the men and the women, and how, once again, the men got the raw end of the deal, at least in the first part of the Horizon League season, which tends to be a broken record. They do this every year. At least it seems like they do it every year. 1:30 this afternoon, Dom Prologo of Warren JFK. The JFK Eagles have themselves an interesting matchup. On Friday night, they will take on the defending Division 7 Region 25 champs, the Lucas Cubs. That'll be up at Mollenkopf on Friday night at 7 o'clock. And according to folks that I trust in the central part of the state, this Lucas team, not as good as Dalton, the team that JFK beat last week. Now, again, speculation, I suppose, opinion, perhaps. We'll hear from Coach Prologo because, well, hey, the film don't lie. I can tell you that. The film certainly don't lie. And let's be honest, Dom Prologo, I mean, he probably got his hand on a few games. He's probably seen the Lucas Cubs play a few times, and I'm sure. So we'll talk with Coach Prologo. We'll ask him. I mean, obviously they haven't played them, but looking at them on film, are they as impressive as, in this, my personal opinion, the best team that JFK has played to this point in the playoffs? Playoffs! The best team? Norwalk St. Paul's the best team that JFK has played to this point. Just my opinion. Norwalk St. Paul is without question the best team that they have played to this point. Is Lucas as good as Norwalk St. Paul? I don't know. We'll find out if they're as impressive. We'll chat with Dom Perlogo, the head football coach of Warren JFK, at 1:30. 2 o'clock, Mike Pavlansky from the Canfield Cardinals. We made mention, Canfield and Chardon, no strangers to each other, even though it's the first time they've met or they're going to meet in a playoffs setting. Canfield and Chardon 3 years ago and 2 years ago, 3 years ago and 2 years ago, played a couple of games. Canfield went to Chardon week 3 of the 2017 season. They beat the Hilltoppers 31-14. Chardon came down to Canfield 1 year later in 2018, week 3 matchup, and Canfield was victorious in that game 35-13. Here we are 2 years later. These two teams meet for a regional championship game. It will be the third time in the last 4 years that the Canfield Cardinals play for a regional championship. Is the third time a charm? We'll catch up and speak with Mike Pavlansky at 2 o'clock. 330-886-0813, the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. The Thursday edition of Running Point, and Running Point presented by a great sales department, a great finance department, and a great service department. It's like offense, defense, and special teams. They're a dynasty. So check out the car-selling dynasty that is Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austin.com.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
Important for everyone.
No place like home.
More local news.
In Mercer County
Before
Court.
they become life-threatening.
21 News is our Valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends: shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency. 953-3722, or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline, open for business. 330-886-0813. That's 330-886-0813. Did want to make mention and congratulate Cesar Hernandez and Roberto Perez. They were given gold gloves It probably the worst time to announce some of the baseball awards, being of what's going on right now. With everything, all the news that's happening that we don't want to get into, but. Probably the worst time to announce the manager of the year, the MVP, the Gold Glove winners, and all that other stuff that you normally do after the World Series. And it gets no publicity based on the craziness that's going on right now within the political aspect, which we won't get into. But congratulations to Cesar Hernandez and Roberto Perez. They were both given Gold Gloves a couple of days ago. So Roberto Perez, I believe this is his second consecutive Gold Glove, which signifies the best defensive player at their chosen position. So Roberto Perez gets his second consecutive Gold Glove award. Cesar Hernandez, who will probably not be in an Indians uniform next year, let's be honest, he probably priced himself out with the year that he had. He wins the Gold Glove as the best defensive second baseman in the American League. Bob Nightingale, who I will trust as far as the baseball guru that he is. There's a number of national writers that I would certainly trust. Nightingale is right up there. By the way, we have one and a friend of the show in John Parado who does an amazing job as well. And when we get to the winter meetings, before we get to the winter meetings in December, which, by the way, is going to all be virtual, nobody's going anywhere thanks to COVID. You don't have any winter meetings this year, which sucks because that is one of the coolest things about major and minor league baseball in the off season. Off season's kind of boring, but the winter meetings, oh man, are they fun. They're a blast. They go to a host city, and the host city has this ginormous hotel. I remember there were a number of winter meetings in Nashville, and they'd have them at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel, which it is just a monstrosity of a hotel. And you had the major league teams and the minor league teams and seminars going all over the place in the conference rooms and whatnot. And it was just, it was educational, it was informative, and if you're trying to break into the business in minor league baseball, that was a workshop was in there as well, a trade show, just a lot of really, really cool things. And unfortunately this year, there is no winter meetings. It's all going to be done virtually, which really sucks, especially when it comes down to the real business aspect of this, which is, for Major League Baseball, forget about the seminars and whatnot. The real stuff is all the trades, all the free agency signings that take place during the winter meetings. And speaking of which, Bob Nightingale, again, outstanding national baseball writer, he tweeted out about an hour ago that Cleveland, and I want to read this tweet because I'll read it in its entirety because there is a shot, whether true or not, which I happen to believe it is. Here's his tweet. Cleveland, strapped for money, intends to trade all-star shortstop Francisco Lindor by opening day. Several rival teams have been informed. Lindor earned $17.5 million last year and is projected to earn about $21 million in salary arbitration in his final year before free agency. Now, I'm kind of amused by the strapped for money, although truth be told, I mean, let's be honest here, Cleveland did something that was pretty much never happens unless you are strapped for money, and that was last week when they, instead of not exercising the option for Brad Hand, they flat out released Brad Hand. And the theory behind this was, okay, Brad Hand is owed $10 million next year, and that's the option of the final year of his contract. If the Indians release him and someone picks him up, then they would be on the hook for the $10 million, and the Indians would, simply put, not pay him the $1 million. So instead of saying, hey, we're not going to pick up the option, here's $1 million, now you're a free agent, the Indians, hoping to not pay the $1 million, put Brad Hand on waivers, hoping that someone would pick him up so the Indians wouldn't have to pay Brad Hand the $1 million. And that tells me, yeah, they need money in the worst way. That's the reason why they did that. I'm a little surprised they didn't do that to Carlos Santana. Maybe it's because they saw that they were getting crushed by the fan base, the very fan base that doesn't support them in the stadium, but I digress. So maybe that's the reason why they didn't do that to Carlos Santana. However, all of this being said, Bob Nightingale reporting that the Indians are most definitely looking to trade Lindor in the offseason. Now, clearly, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. The Indians are trading Lindor. How much are they going to get for Lindor? Not as much as everyone's hoping. I said this last year after the season was over, and I'll say it now. The longer you wait on a player, the smaller return you're going to get when it comes to a player being that much closer to free agency. Now, let me preface that by saying if the Indians were to deal Lindor to a team that can sign him to a long-term deal, I have one team in mind. They were recently sold, and the owner, who is worth more than $1 billion, wants to make a splash, and that would be the New York Mets. And I don't think there's any question that the Mets ownership, Steve Cohen, if I'm not mistaken, would be the new owner of the New York Mets. I'm sure that Mr. Cohen would love to acquire Francisco Lindor. And I'm sure that Mr. Cohen, knowing that he's acquiring Francisco Lindor, he's going to sign this guy to a long-term deal, and he's going to put him in a Mets pinstripe for however long they sign him. Now, if that's the case, okay, the Indians could get some bodies for Lindor. They're not going to get what they're hoping to get. And I understand people are going to sit back and go, well, wait a second. If the Mets sign this guy to a long-term deal, then why wouldn't they ship out whatever it takes to get Lindor? Well, the answer is real simple, kids. They don't have to ship anybody out. I mean, technically, and the other 29 teams should probably listen to this, technically, I'm not going to give you what your asking price is. If you guys are asking for 3 top-level prospects and 2 major league ready guys that ain't happening. Because here's the deal. I can wait until the end of the 2020 season and sign this guy and not pay a damn thing. So why the hell would I give you the keys to my minor league kingdom for a guy that I could get anyway after the 2020 season for nothing in terms of players? So don't expect when the Indians do trade Lindor, and they're going to. Look, the Indians have about as much a chance of signing Lindor to a long-term deal as I do of having a date with a supermodel. And folks, let's be honest here. This face ain't going to be dating a supermodel anytime soon. I mean, this is a 2-bagger face. I mean, I'm comfortable saying this, kids. I am not an attractive man from the neck up. I get it. I acknowledge it. There is no way in hell that I'm doing that. Just like there's no way in hell that the Indians are going to get as much as they think they're going to get for Lindor. It's not going to happen because they waited too long. Had you traded him away last year with 2 years left on his deal, you'd have gotten what you wanted. But you're not going to get what you want from this guy with only 1 year left because the other 29 teams are going to look at you and say, wait a second, I don't have to give you anything. I can wait till 2021, sign this guy, overpay him, and then I don't have to give up any of my capital. Now, if a team wants to trade for Lindor to get the inside track to sign him to the long-term deal, absolutely they should. But are they going to give up the capital that the Indians are looking for? Hell no, they're not going to, nor should they. Now, that doesn't mean that the Indians aren't going to get some impressive talent. I mean, Lindor is a good player. He's not a great player, but he's a good player. He's a good player. He's one of the top shortstops in baseball. He's one of the most marketable guys. Not that baseball markets their players. They don't. But he's a pretty good guy. And let's face it, Francisco Lindor in New York playing for the other New York team, marketing genius for the New York Mets. Marketing genius. The problem is the Mets don't have enough bodies or really good bodies in their minor league system to get Lindor. The Indians aren't going to be interested in their top prospects because the Mets farm system sucks. So I don't know if it's going to be the Mets. I mean, we'll see, but it doesn't surprise me that the Indians are going to trade Lindor in the offseason. I mean, I think that's the worst kept secret in baseball. And unfortunately, they're not going to get that much. And I know fans are going to sit back and go, wow, I'm done with the Indians. If they trade Lindor, I'm done with the Indians. Well, I hate to say this, kids. This is on you. This is on all of you. You didn't support the team. Sorry. Over the last 7 years, teams averaged over 90 wins a season. Now, last year, nobody supported anybody because the gates were closed and nobody could watch a game. But the Indians' fan attendance sucks. It's in the bottom third every year the last 7 years, except for this year when they didn't have any fans. So part of this is on you. Deal with it. I don't want to hear about your TV ratings because your TV ratings, that and $1 will get you a friggin' newspaper. TV ratings mean nothing. What you get for your TV, okay, the Indians screwed the pooch on that one. They should have gotten a lot more money for the TV rights. And the TV rights are coming up in a couple of years, and hopefully they'll get that money. But a lot of this is on you, the fans, because you didn't support the team. Even when the team was in the World Series in 2016, you finished 28th in attendance. You didn't put money in the owner's pocket. This is a business. This is on you as much as it's on Dolan. And the sad thing is, hopefully they get at least something back of significance. I think they will, but yeah, it's the worst kept secret in baseball that Lindor will be traded. And as far as I'm concerned, they traded him 1 year too early because you're not going to get nearly as much back for him now as you would have 2 years ago. All right, 330-886-0813. We're going to take a timeout on the other end. We will hear from the voice of the YSU men's basketball program. Rob Schmidt will be joining me via the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit. Stick around.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-free service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Jim Myers with Myers Family Insurance, your local Medicare and retirement resource. We're excited to have sports back. Whether you're on the field or cheering from the stands, sports unifies communities and brings hope for the future. We're all one team working together. At Myers Family Insurance, we know the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is October 15th through December 7th. Now's the time to make sure your plan continues to meet your needs for the upcoming year.
Call today.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Rude gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy efficient
MP Vivo, we rely on Rude, and so should you.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Let's go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline where we find the voice of the YSU men's basketball team, Rob Schmitz. Mr. Schmitz, how are you today?
Things are starting to pick up a little bit here as we move closer to the start of a new season.
Okay, from what I understand, the Horizon League is coming out with some breaking news. You want to share this with everyone?
Yeah, here, well, it should be official as of right now. The league has announced its preseason poll and its men's first and second team all-league preseason selection. So they announced that today. It hit social media a couple of minutes ago, and it's becoming it's able to be released here at 1 o'clock, which we're right up against it. So this is just coming out now and has just been released by the league. But good news for YSU. Really, really, really good news for the YSU men's basketball team. They were named second in the Horizon League's preseason poll. So when you go down the preseason poll, Wright State is the preseason favorite to win the league this year. They received 37 first-place votes. YSU was picked second in the preseason poll, earning 3 first-place votes, which is the most that they have earned in the preseason poll in their 20 seasons of being a member of the Horizon League. Northern Kentucky was selected third. They earned 4 first-place votes. Then it went Robert Morris, UIC, Oakland, Cleveland State at 7, followed by Green Bay, Detroit Mercy, Milwaukee in 10th, Purdue Fort Wayne, one of the two newcomers, and then IUPUI was selected 12th in the men's preseason poll. Your preseason player of the year was Loudon Love from Wright State. Then Detroit Mercy's Antoine Davis, Amari Davis from Green Bay, and IUPUI's Marcus Burke. Second team preseason for the league included Naz Bohannon from Youngstown State. Well-deserved honor for Naz. Finally getting the respect that he has earned in his time here at Youngstown State after being snubbed the last couple of seasons, whether it's a preseason or postseason poll. He was joined on the second team by Cleveland State's Aljavon Eichelberger, Tijon Lucas from Milwaukee, Oakland's Rashad Williams, and Robert Morris's A.J. Brama. So those were your first and second team preseason league teams, and then the men's preseason poll. The women are expected second team players tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Okay, Rob, it's interesting that they have Youngstown State in second place, and I say that because I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this schedule, and again, the schedule is going to be such where you are going to be playing teams back to back. One team you're playing back to back, and you're not playing a home and home where one game is at, say, Northern Kentucky and then the next game is at Beagley. No, you would play two games, whether it be at Beagley or at Northern Kentucky. To give everyone an example, December the 19th and the 20th, Youngstown State will begin conference play at Northern Kentucky. So two games in the span of a week, 19th and 20th. And help me out, Rob, is that a Saturday and Sunday or a Friday and Saturday?
So in December, the league schedule, because of final exams, will be playing Saturday and Sunday in December. So that weekend that the men are scheduled to begin on December 19th, the 19th and 20th would be a Saturday, Sunday. And then they're scheduled to play Christmas weekend, which would be the 26th and 27th, which is also a Saturday, Sunday. When you get to January and February, the schedule reverts to a Friday, Saturday, back-to-back doubleheader.
Okay.
Back-to-back schedule.
All right. So Saturday and Sunday, December 26th and 27th, Youngstown State will take a trip to Cleveland State. Unfortunately, YSU doesn't get the gates for two games against a very close team in Cleveland State. But that's the second consecutive weekend that the Penguins will be traveling. January the 1st and 2nd, a Friday and a Saturday, Green Bay comes to Beagley. January the 8th and the 9th, the Penguins will go to Dayton to play Wright State. And then January 15th and 16th, the Penguins will travel to the northern suburbs of Detroit to take on Oakland. So 10 games, but in 8 of those 10 games, first 10 games, the Penguins will be on the road. And look, we've seen this done more than a handful of times. I just think that, first of all, I think that there's a lot of people over there that are overthinking things. Why couldn't they have, and I'll give you a great example, and maybe you can answer this, Rob, and I don't know. I'm going to put you on the spot. All right, the women are going to be starting a weekend earlier, December the 12th and the 13th. The women have Robert Morris at Cleveland State, Purdue Fort Wayne at IUPUI, Wright State at Detroit Mercy, UIC at Oakland, Youngstown State at Northern Kentucky, Milwaukee at Green Bay. If you're doing the women's schedule to where it's going to be played 1 week early, why don't you just copy the women's schedule and do the women's schedule the same as the men's schedule?
Two things. Well, there's several things, more than two, I guess. So there comes down to facilities. Facilities are a problem in this league. We're fortunate at Youngstown State that Beagley Center is set up primarily for volleyball, men's and women's basketball, and it's not like playing at the Covelli Center, which may have other events scheduled at that time. Other schools, not all, but some, split their venues. So Cleveland State plays in the same building. However, even though at this time of COVID, I don't understand it myself, but they're in a building that they don't necessarily operate. It's a third party, and they may have other events scheduled in the Wolstein Center. So Cleveland State, to a certain degree, is at the mercy of some other dates and conflicts in scheduling. Similar situation with the Nutter Center at Wright State or BB&T Arena at Northern Kentucky. They sometimes run into scheduling conflicts. It's really bad. The scheduling conflicts are really bad at both IUPUI, where the men play off campus at the state fairgrounds, and Purdue Fort Wayne, which normally the men play off campus. I call it the Coliseum in Fort Wayne there, and the women play on campus, much like IUPUI. From what I understand, Fort Wayne had some really bad scheduling conflicts because they don't want to pay to have their men play off campus. So now they're trying to wedge everything on campus, and they've run into some scheduling conflicts with men's volleyball, yes, and some other campus activities. So that's part of the problem. When the league has to do these schedules, they have to take into consideration some of the conflicts that come into these buildings or venues. So they've got to start by figuring out who has scheduling conflicts, and you got to put them on the road if their building is already tied up for another event. Now, that's where we always kind of get screwed, in all honesty, because our building is available all the time. So they know that they can kind of pick and choose when they're coming to Beagley because they've got to shoehorn it in around the other scheduled conflicts. The problem that I have with the league schedule is they put us on the road for 8 of the first 10, as you had mentioned. And I was told by a gentleman who lives in Indianapolis, this is the 15th time in the 20 seasons that YSU has been in the Horizon League that the men have opened on the road. So you're talking it's a 5 home game, 15 road game, season opening schedule that the men have had to endure in their 20 years in this league. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was able to reconfigure the men's league schedule in a very short amount of time that had YSU not having to endure 8 of its first 10 games on the road. And it were a couple of simple flips. The one fly in the ointment, and one reason this did not get pushed through, was because YSU is scheduled to play at home against Fort Wayne on a weekend that they had a scheduling conflict. And we felt that it was a minimal scheduling conflict that could have been resolved, and they opted not to do it. So there were some things that I felt could have been done differently that could have avoided, YSU being the only team in the league playing 8 of its first 10 on the road. I know there are people that are upset because they felt Robert Morris got a much more favorable schedule for a team that's coming into its first year of existence in the Horizon League, a team that expected to play up again, have its backs to the wall because they were a late inclusion into the Horizon League scheduling mix. So, I think that's where our guys are frustrated because they weren't shown any respect and they weren't given the benefit of the doubt when it came to scheduling conflicts. And that's the disheartening thing when you look at the men's schedule for the Horizon League and how it does not behoove the YSU men. Now, the league will come back and tell you this. You play 8 of your last 10 at home, and so now you've got to mentally get through those first 10 games and set yourself up. But, I'm under the belief that if you don't do well in those first 10 games, mentally you check out in the second half, and it does not benefit you to play 8 of your last 10 at home. So we'll see. The men are supposed to have a really good year. Maybe this is a way to show the league that they're real, that they're for real. But I just don't. The league didn't do us any favors, as I had tweeted out yesterday.
Rob, the other thing that I have a problem with, okay, you brought in a team from the Pittsburgh area. And let's be honest, I mean, Robert Morris, Youngstown State, and Cleveland State, they're all within driving distance of each other. So if you're a Cleveland State fan, you make the trip to Youngstown. We've seen plenty of Vikings fans make the trip to Beagley, and I'm sure that those fans would travel to Pittsburgh or our side of Pittsburgh, Coriopolis, to be honest. and it's a shorter drive, to where the Cleveland State fans will go to Coriopolis and they'll go to Robert Morris. Another problem that I have with the league, and again, it is what it is. Okay, you're on the road against Cleveland State the day after Christmas, the 26th and the 27th, but they also have Youngstown State on the road at Robert Morris. Why the hell are we not playing a home game against one of these two teams? It doesn't make any sense.
No, that's and let me get back to a couple other things too that you're correct about, in that we don't get an opportunity to host. We're at Northern Kentucky, we're at Wright State, we're at Cleveland State, we're at Robert Morris, and you're at Oakland. Okay, so you don't get. And if you really want to separate this league into have and have-nots, we have to go on the road to play the haves. We don't get any of the have. We don't get to go to any of the have-nots. None of the haves really come here, other than let me look here. Other than who's one of the haves that would come here? Maybe UIC. That's probably my best example of a have that's coming here is UIC. But other than that, we're at Wright State, preseason number 1. At Northern Kentucky, preseason number 3. At Robert Morris, preseason number 4. At Oakland, preseason number 6. And at Cleveland State, preseason number 7. So that means you're hosting UIC, preseason 5. Green Bay, 8. Detroit Mercy, preseason 9. Fort Wayne and IUPUI, preseason 11 and 12. So you're hosting the have-nots. Okay, that's fine. But you've got your road trips are difficult regardless, because you're playing 8 of the first 10 on the road. And then you've got to go to the haves on the road. There's no split there. You know what I mean? There's no split. There's no middle ground where you got to do 3 and 2. Play 3 hard teams on the road and host 2 of those at home. There's no split. It's either all or nothing. And the women are the same way now. The women's schedule, they don't have to endure 8 of 10 on the road, but where they've got to travel is no treat. I mean, they've got to go to Green Bay. They got to go to they got to go to the tougher teams in this league. And the one reason the schedules are offset, I believe, is the men wanted an extra week because some of the schools in the Horizon League rely upon non-conference games and the revenue that they can generate. So there's a handful of schools that I think needed that extra week of non-league play to try to generate some revenue. So, and they didn't care, or they weren't as worried about playing over Christmas weekend. I think the women's coaches realized it was important for their players to get home for Christmas and didn't want to play on that weekend. That's why you're seeing the women starting league play 1 week prior to the men.
Rob, let me ask you, because there's 12 teams now in the Horizon League. Youngstown State will be playing 10 of those teams. Who are we not playing from the Horizon League this year?
So the men do not play Milwaukee.
Interesting.
Yeah, the men do not play Milwaukee. They have everybody else on the schedule except Milwaukee.
Now, let me ask you, Wright State, they're favored to win the league championship. Who don't they play?
That's a good question. I don't know that I've delved that far into it. I mean, I can do a process of elimination as we talk, because Wright State's opening with Detroit Mercy. Wright State then comes home to get Green Bay. They're at Oakland. Then they are... Where's Wright State? Then they're home to us. Their schedule bounces back and forth. They're not, they get home to Cleveland State, so that's back-to-back weekends. They're at IUPUI. I mean, I guess I'm doing a process of elimination sorry to waste your time on that. Home to Robert Morris, at UIC.
Are they playing Cleveland State?
Yeah, they play Cleveland State.
Okay.
Who am I missing? They got Milwaukee. They have Green Bay. Are they missing? They might be missing IUPUI. Nope.
They're playing IUPUI. Yeah.
They got.
Well, it just again, the point of all of this is, all right, if you're the number 1 team, Who are you missing out? And is that team in the upper region of the league, or is it in the lower region of the league? And it just I think there's a lot of interesting things that go into the Horizon League schedule every single year, and it just seems like every single year Youngstown State has to climb a mountain in the first 10 games. Now, I mean, let's look at the glass half full. If these guys do accomplish this and go, say, 5-5 the first 10 games or better, 5-5 or better in the first 10 games, Rob, this team's in great shape because now you've got 8 of the final 10 games at Beagley Center, and hopefully, they'll be able to have home serve and take care of business.
And that's what the league will tell you is that, hey, the front half of your schedule is awful, but the back half could be really advantageous. Now, here's a couple other things you got to keep in mind. Because of the COVID pandemic, the league has already come out and said that there will be no fans at league games in the month of December. So when we go to Northern Kentucky and go to Cleveland State, there'll be no fans there. So if you're going to be on the road, it's not awful because the atmosphere will be very bland. Even though you're playing on foreign rims, that's the biggest attraction. But there's no fans. There'll be no real atmosphere there. So that's a bonus in December that you don't have to deal with. And then they'll worry about January and February as we move through. Also, keep in mind, with this pandemic, we're all hopeful to get in an entire season. There may be games, as you've seen in college football, that are going to be either postponed or canceled because teams or players or staff members test positive. So you could have, of those first 10 games, let's say 2 of them are wiped, 2 weekends are wiped out because either you test positive or the other team tests positive. You may not end up playing 8 of those first 10 on the road. You may only end up playing 4 of the first 10 on the road because 2 weekends were wiped out with the pandemic. It's such a fluid situation. We were all upset and frustrated with the league scheduling and, when we're traveling and who we're playing. But you got to stay fluid and you got to stay positive because you just don't know if you're going to get them all in, which games are going to be wiped out. Maybe because they're saying the pandemic's going to spike in December, that some of those games don't get played, and we do get more home games in the back half of the schedule, and it does play to our benefit. That's the crazy thing, Ron. You just don't know right now.
And how is the Horizon League going to deal with those canceled games? If there are canceled games, God forbid, hopefully we don't have any canceled games. But if we do, is it business as usual and they don't have makeups?
No, I think there is a week built in to the end of the schedule before the tournament begins. Now, I think it's a week, might be 2, but I think there is a week built in to the end of the schedule that they could make up some games if indeed there are postponements throughout the year. There also is probably a contingency plan that if multiple teams lose multiple games, then it comes down to a winning percentage as far as seeding for the postseason tournament. So there's still a lot of variables left. I think they're trying to do. I will give the league credit. I think they're trying to do their best to figure out a fair way to get to the tournament. Whether it's all the teams are going again, whether it's only 4, that I don't know. But I believe there is a week built into the schedule in which they could make up games, and they've probably already got something in place where if you're going to lose multiple games, then it comes down to a winning percentage determining your regular season champion and then the seedings for the tournament.
Well, the one thing that is pretty much a guarantee, the champion in this conference is probably going to have the most complete team, and starters are great, but you better have a really good bench, especially when you're playing back-to-back. You better be about 10 deep or more if you want to win a championship in this league, based on the fact you're going to play 2 consecutive games against the same team. Coach Calhoun better have a deep bench.
That's a great point. It really is, and I don't think that can be understated at all. I don't think you can mention that enough because of how you're playing now in back-to-back days. The coaches were already stressed out enough because you had to play Thursday, Saturday, and they didn't feel that just one day, whether it was one day of travel or one day of prep was enough to get ready for that Saturday game. I think, a lot of people like the Max setup when it was Wednesday, Saturday. They felt that extra day was crucial. But now you're going back to back. So I don't think you can talk enough about the depth of your basketball team and how successful that's going to mean for your season. Because when you look at a lot of teams in this league, they've got star players. Wright State's got Loudon Love and Tanner Holden, but their backcourt took a big hit this year when they lost Colt Gentry. So now they got to replace that. So maybe they're not as deep at point guard as they were a year ago. Same thing with like a Northern Kentucky, which got hit with both graduation and transfers. Tyler Sharp is not there anymore, their best three-point shooter, and Jalen Tate is transferred out, their best defender. So now you're not only trying to fill in one gap behind that starter, you're trying to find a starter and a guy to back him up. So you're right. Depth is huge, and I think that's one reason why you've seen in this preseason poll that we talked about right off the top is why YSU is now preseason number 2 and received more first-place votes than they have in any previous year they've been a member of the league, because you return your point guard, you return your off guard, you return your 4 and 5, okay? You return Quisenberry, Covington, Akuche, Bohannon, and then you return their backups. So now Christian Bentley's a backup to Darius Quisenberry at the point, and they've also had Daniel Ogoro as a redshirt last year coming in. They like one of the recruits they've got in. You've got some depth at YSU where they really did. They weren't hit by graduation. They lost 2 players, and one of them was a starter, one was a sixth man. So they didn't take a huge hit to their depth to begin with, and then you bring in what they feel is a really good recruiting class, and there's the depth that you're talking about. Other teams have some. I like, Cleveland State's front 5 is very good. Not sure about their bench. And you could pretty much go down the line with a lot of these teams. Green Bay got hit severely with graduation and transfers. So I think, Ron, that's probably the biggest key going in, maybe one of the biggest things that you talked about. That's going to be one of the most important things as we move through this schedule.
And it's not like Coach has to worry about redshirting everyone because everyone gets a free year.
Yeah, now, see, that's good and bad, and I'm glad you brought that up. It's good. It's good for our guys, obviously, because if you don't get a full season in, your seniors are not robbed of that last year of college athletics. So, the NCAA right now has said it's a minimum of 13 games that you have to play to be eligible for the NCAA tournament. So if you go to your seniors and say, hey, look, you're supposed to be playing 32 games, 33, maybe 34, but you're only going to get to play 13. They may opt out, like we had seen in football, and not try to play this year. I would rather come back next year and go for a full season. So the NCAA has graciously allowed, like they did in the fall, these student athletes to virtually play for free this year. It doesn't count against them. So it's good for our guys, obviously, because we bring back a team that's expected to do really well, and you can bring them back for another full season. But what it also does, it gives teams like UIC, which is going to surprise teams because they have a brand new coach, they have a lot of transfers from some Power 5 schools. It gives them a year to play together and get better when you move forward to another season. So the window of opportunity that you had over some teams that may be rebuilding this year shrinks a little bit because they'll have 1 year to play together, which will make them a better team moving forward. So it's good and bad. I think there's some teams that are very excited because they get to bring in some youth and some transfers and with an opportunity to come back and play together a year from now.
Well, and hopefully the division, or I should say the conference, gets to the point where you could have multiple teams get into the NCAA tournament.
And that's always Commissioner John LaCrone's dream. And now that he's passing the torch to Julie Rowe, I think that that is a dream of this league. I think that's always been on their minds. And I think moving forward, this will help the Horizon League build some depth. 1 through 12. I think they've done some things scheduling-wise to try and limit the amount of non-D1s that you play and probably even limit the amount of money games that you play that are expected to be losses on your schedule. So I think that all goes hand in hand trying to help this conference return to a 2-bid league.
Should be a lot of fun, Robin. I look forward to the start of the season in December.
Well, it can't get here soon enough as far as I'm concerned, and I look forward to working with you again this season. And it all gets underway November 25th. The YSU men play the day before Thanksgiving. Then they host a tournament on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here. So that'll be released here shortly, but should be a lot of fun once we get this thing started and rolling.
It'll be a blast. Always a pleasure, sir. We look forward to catching up with you every Thursday at this time.
Thanks, Ron. Look forward to it, buddy.
You got it, man. Rob Schmidt, the voice of the YSU men's basketball program. Going to take a time out. When we come back, the head football coach of the Warren JFK Eagles, Dom Prologo, joins me. JFK's got a game against the Lucas Cubs, the defending Division 7 Region 25 champs. We'll talk about Lucas and, well, are they as good as some of the other teams JFK has played this tournament season? We'll talk with Dom Prologo coming up in a bit. It is a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plans still meet your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Rude. Michael relies on Rude, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
To Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Tomorrow night at Mollenkopf, the Warren JFK Eagles look to win a Division 7 Region 25 championship as they take on the defending Division 7 Region 25 champs, the Lucas Cubs. That game will be played tomorrow night at Mollenkopf Stadium, 7 o'clock game time. We'll have it on ysnlive.com. And to join me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, we bring in the head football coach of the Warren JFK Eagles, Dom Prologo. Coach, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not as good as you because you're playing for a regional championship, my brother.
That's for sure. Pretty exciting over here in Warren, that's for sure.
Let me ask you, what's the mood like at JFK High School? I mean, this isn't new hat for you guys. I mean, you won a state championship a few years back, but I got to believe that postseason football always brings out the best at JFK High School.
Oh, there's no doubt. You know, our administration's excited, our kids are excited. Obviously our players are excited. And that's part of what we have to deal with here is trying to get our kids to stay in the moment
and not get overly excited about things that really don't have anything to do with the game.
Let me ask you, because obviously Lucas played McDonald last weekend. Did you get an opportunity to get that film from the game last weekend? What did you see? What does Lucas bring to the table?
Well, we did get film on Lucas, and we talked to some other coaches and things like that. And, first of all, Lucas brings – they're the champs. They won the region last year. They played for a state championship. So, obviously we've been preaching to our kids, if you want to be the champ, you got to beat the champs. That's number one. Number two, their offense is something unorthodox for us here in Northeast Ohio. Now, it seems like a lot of schools over there where they're at play this type of offense. I mean, we've seen it on film against teams did it to Dalton. So the type of offense they run is not something we see very often or ever. And so that's a big challenge. Obviously trying to get our scout team to mimic what they do is almost impossible. And so that's a challenge. They line up in two tight ends. They got two real tight wings. It's an old school wing tee, and they just want to run the ball down your throat. And, so we have a guy on our staff, Denny Claney, who played back at Ursuline, played at Notre Dame back in the day. And when the film came on Saturday morning, he was sitting there. Now, this gentleman's in his 70s. He had played with Coach Angle at Ursuline. And as soon as the film came on, he goes, "Hey, that looks like the offense I ran." So, it's not something we see very often. And so that's a challenge. And then defensively, they're a 4-2-5 defense. And I'll be honest with you, I really believe this is probably the best defense we've faced all year.
Is it from? Let me ask, because there's a lot of things to unpack with what you just said, and I'm trying to envision this offense in my head. So you got your 5 offensive linemen, double tight end set means there's 7 guys on the line, 2 receivers very close to the tight ends. That's 9. Your quarterback is 10. That means they have 1 running back there with essentially 9 guys up front, although not bunched together, but 9 guys up front. Is that accurate, Coach?
Yeah, but you know what? Let's take that a step further to clarify it. They are bunched up. Their splits are more than what you would call toe-to-toe. They're literally on top of each other. Those wings actually straddle the outside leg of the tight end, and every play those wings come up when they line up, and they actually put their hand on the hip of the tight end to see if they're close enough. The fullback, the lone running back, when he comes up, his helmet, when he gets in his stance, the top of his helmet is literally touching the quarterback's butt. So they are in a phone booth right there.
So they want to essentially play phone booth football, and if they get the tempo, then they're playing their style of football for the entire night.
No doubt, and that's one of the keys. Now McDonald did a really nice job at getting them to jump out of that, because McDonald, came up and played physical football with them, but the problem is when they got them to jump out of it, McDonald field conditions were bad, and they kind of got caught in man coverage a couple of times, and Lucas beat them over the top. So, by throwing it, so they've shown that they can adequately throw the ball, which makes that offense even more difficult. Because when you're trying to get 11 eyes on what's going on in front of them, sometimes those kids don't have good enough eye discipline, and they get beat over the top. So that's kind of what happened with McDonald a little bit.
And 11 men in the box, you're simply not going to be able to do that unless you put the receiver on his backside within the first 5 yards. It's not going to work.
100%. You're 100% right. It's a difficult. That's why I said it's for us. It's a challenge to try to play against this offense.
All right, defensively, you said they are the best defense that you've seen on film. 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. Obviously, if you're running the ball, a 4-2-5, the safeties are going to have to be incredibly active. to make it a 4-4-3 if the safeties are up. But if you throw the ball, okay, now you got 5 defensive backs that you got to deal with. Coach, I'm curious. I've seen a lot of teams are starting to switch to the 4-25, 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs in high school football. Is that a more hybrid defense to run in today's climate of high school football?
Well, yeah, the offenses are forcing you to put more skill guys on the field defensively. So having 5 DBs on the field gives you that nickel look. And now you have a better opportunity to stop the spread offenses. All these different formations they give you, the motions. You need to have skill guys to be able to cover that stuff up. So if you want to have 4 down linemen, and again, football still is, in my opinion, at least what we see in Ohio, football is still a running game. We don't see very many teams like Dover years back that came out and they threw the ball 95% of the time. Lowellville that we played in week 1 of the playoffs, they were one of those teams. They had a quarterback that could do it. So being in a 3-4 against that, you're kind of at a disadvantage because for the run game. So in Ohio, you want to still try to have 4 defensive linemen. So the 4-2-5 gives you the ability to still have 4 D linemen, 2 linebackers normally can stay in the box and take away that run game, and you've got 5 DBs that can normally, hopefully, can help you cover up the stuff that they're doing in the spread. So, yeah, the 4-2-5 is something that is really designed for what we're seeing in today's offenses.
And obviously with a 4-2-5, if your defensive linemen are clogging up some offensive linemen, your linebackers, your safeties on a running play can be really active, fill in the holes, and shorten the damage an awful lot.
Yep. And their secondary, what makes them as good as they are, their secondary is aggressive and they tackle well. That's something that jumped out to me in the first film I watched, is how well their DBs tackled. So that's a challenge. Obviously when you have to play against teams like that, you're forced to get a body on a body all over the field. There's not a guy that you can kind of say, we're just going to run by him. Their guys actually, do a good job and force you to get a body on a body.
Don Perlogo, the head football coach of the Warren JFK Eagles, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. JFK hoping to win a Division VII Region 25 regional championship on Friday night at Mollenkopf as they take on the Lucas Cubs. And one thing that we can safely say, you're not going to have horrible conditions on Friday night. Welcome to Indian summer. And we're not supposed to have any bad weather. Not that bad weather would even be really that big of a deal because you're on turf. You're not going to be on the grass of Lucas High School, and it's nice to be a number 1 seed to have the opportunity to play your home game.
Yeah, I have to believe that right now Coach Williams at McDonald wishes he had the opportunity that we have. Watching that film, I just feel like, I'm sure, it's not his words, mine, I'm sure he would probably like to have played them on a turf field where those field conditions weren't a factor. I mean, don't get me wrong, both teams had to play in it, but when you have a team that's built on speed and misdirection, maybe like McDonald is, then you got a team that just wants to bash your head in and have 11 bodies right at the line at the ball, the field conditions really don't play that big of a factor for them.
Coach, I always like to say that the film doesn't lie. So let me ask you, you have played Norwalk St. Paul, you've played Dalton, you're going to play Lucas. You've had an opportunity to see all 3 teams on film. You had an opportunity to play 2 of these 3 teams. On film, does Lucas stack up as the best team that you're facing on film?
I'm going to answer that today. And the answer I'm going to give you today is yes. They're the best team that we've seen. maybe if you ask me that again on Monday, I'll give you a different answer. But right now I'm going to say, yeah, they're the best. I already kind of said they're the best defense we've seen. That includes Howland. That includes Garrettsville, Garfield. Those are some pretty good football teams, and that actually beat us this year. And this defense is better. Offensively, I don't care who they played. Us, St. Paul, Dalton. Their offense is going to give anybody issues because they're so good at what they do. And our biggest concern is, our scout team wasn't able to give us a look that's even close to what they're going to see on Friday, and how many series of is it going to take in the game for our kids to actually figure out exactly what's happening to them, because they may not have seen it all week versus our scout team.
Coach, is that an enrollment issue or a member of the team issue, or is that talent issue with the scout team?
Oh, it doesn't matter who our scout team is, because, this week what we chose to do was we took our best 11 players that don't start on offense. So some of those are our immediate backups on defense, and they literally played on our scout team. So it's not so much a talent thing. It's not an enrollment thing. We have plenty of numbers. It's just with this style of offense and the patience their running backs use, and honestly, when you guys watch this game tomorrow night, you're going to be shocked at how many bodies they bring to the hole. I mean, I'll give an example. That two tight end set, they'll block their guard down, their tackle down, their end down, their wing down. They'll pull the backside guard and bring him around to like a tray. They'll pull the backside tackle. They'll lead the front side wing up in that hole. They'll bring the fullback through that hole. The quarterback will pitch to the wing on the opposite side. The quarterback will reverse out and lead up through that hole. And then the running back gets in the mosh pit, and he tries to figure out how he can pop out the other side.
So
there are literally 11 bodies within a 5x5 block during each play.
Many years ago, a colleague of mine once said, "Follow the guard; he'll take you to the ball." Can you see that with this team? And if that's the case, is it going to be easier to know the pulling guard is going to lead you to where the ball is?
No doubt. It's one thing to know it's coming. It's another thing to stop it. So, our linebackers have done a great job all week. Our safeties we've done a great job all week recognizing what we're going to see. It's just, it's going to be a little different come tomorrow night because they do it and they do it so well compared to a group of kids that we threw together and said, here, run this offense that you've never done and do it off of a card. And these guys, we're moving on defense and you got to try to fit where you're supposed to. It's going to, it was a challenge for our scout team. So, certainly that's going to be a challenge defensively is getting used to how it actually looks as opposed to how we showed it to them.
Well, the good news is I highly doubt that Lucas has seen anybody the caliber of Mr. Hollabaugh and some of the kids that you have running the football or receiving the football via Hollabaugh's passes.
Here's the funny thing. Talking to Coach Bayek during the week, and he watched some film, and we were BSing about the film, and he said, Dom, here's all I'm going to tell you. They don't have a Cam Hollabaugh. He goes, and no matter how, if you win this week and have to play next week, they probably won't have a Cam Hollabaugh either. So that's a huge advantage for us is having that dude on our team.
No two ways about that. By the way, and we don't want to look forward, obviously. You got a job to do against Lucas, but the state semifinal is set where in all likelihood you would take on a fellow parochial school and I'll age myself, Coach, in the late 70s, early 80s, Newark Catholic was the gold standard for high school football in Class A ball. The Green Wave was just absolutely phenomenal, and I kind of want to see a JFK Newark Catholic matchup because I think that would be a fascinating matchup on a lot of ways, and hopefully next week, knock on wood, we have that conversation.
Again, today I'll say this: I hope you're right that we get to play them next week because that means we were good enough to beat Lucas. But next Monday, if you ask me that next week, I might not say that because I don't know. I know nothing about them. I might watch film and be like, oh my goodness, I guess I shouldn't have said that last week. That I'm glad we get to play them. So, but yeah, right now I'm going to say I hope you're right, and I hope we do get to play them because that means we did our job tomorrow night, and we came out of the game with a win, and we get to move on.
And look, at the end of the day, you're in what is now the Elite Eight. 2 teams per region. There's not a bad team in the state of Ohio, and it just this is when the fun starts. This is, if you're not nervous, you better be. You should be, because this is high school football at its absolute greatest right now.
Yeah, you know what? You probably need to talk to my assistants and ask them if I'm getting a little uptight. Because trust me, there's no doubt that I'm getting a little bit uptight about it. Obviously being my first year, the 30 years of being an assistant, even though I've coached in this game several times, won it twice as an assistant, it kind of doesn't really kind of prepare you for prep, like the week's prep and the week's mentality that you have to have and your kids have to have when you're the head coach. So this is kind of everything up to this point has kind of been, okay, I know what I'm doing. I've been here. Whether I'm the head coach or not, it hasn't really been a whole lot different for me. This week, yeah, it's a little different. And like this phone call with you today, I have been on the phone a lot this week and talking to different people from the press, which is great. It's good for our kids. I want our kids to get as much notoriety as possible and talk about our program as much as possible. But at the end of the day, I'm fortunate that I'm able to do that. But I hope it's not taken away from our focus on what we're supposed to be doing, and that's watching film and get ready for Lucas.
Well, one of the things, and you brought it up without even mentioning it, the fact that you still have a great relationship with Coach Bayek, and Coach Bayek was the last coach that led JFK to a state championship. The advice that he gives you, I have to imagine that advice when you guys have your private moments talking about some stuff, I have to believe that advice is priceless.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Priceless is a great word. Not very many first-time head coaches, are handed the keys to a Maserati like Coach Bayek did with me here. He didn't leave the program where the cupboards were bare. So, first of all, he changed the culture here and put this program back on where it used to be in the 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s. That's number one. And then number two, not many first-year head coaches, talk to their head coach from, years past, probably 3-4 times a week. His wife, when I call and he starts talking, she says, "Is that Dom?" And he'll say, "Yeah." And she'll say, "Okay, I'll see you when you come to bed," because she knows it's probably going to be about an hour and 20-minute phone call.
Dom Perlogo, the head football coach of the Warren JFK Eagles, joining me on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Before we let you go, the one great thing about being this far is the pedigree of JFK. We've mentioned this. You guys have won a state championship in the last few years. JFK is the gold standard in this region, and there should be no lack of experience from this perspective. But unfortunately, you can't use that as an advantage this weekend because you're going up against the defending regional champs. Now, truth be told, and I'm sure you're aware of this, that Lucas team last year lost a ton of kids from their football team, and there's a lot of folks that thought, okay, Lucas is actually a year ahead of schedule because there's a lot of sophomores and juniors that are playing on this team, and here they are again in the regional championship game.
Yeah, that's a credit to their coaching staff. That's a credit to their kids for, especially in the COVID year, staying the course, working out in the off season, getting themselves ready to play. So that's a credit to their program that they're on the right track to make sure that things are, if you're doing it right, you shouldn't be rebuilding. You should kind of be reloading, and they are. They're obviously doing it right, but. Here's the bottom line. As far as experience and all that stuff, when I got hired here, my first time I addressed this team as the head coach, the first thing I said to them, I said, gentlemen, make no mistake. No matter if Coach Bag's standing here or if I am, make no mistake. If you're playing football for Warren JFK, the expectations are that we are a championships. That's how we're measured, and that's how your success is going to be measured going forward. And you have to embrace that role if we're going to do what we want to do, and that is get at the seat at the table. You know, there's only two teams sitting at that table right now. 1991's team sitting there, and so is 2016. The rest of these teams that are on that board that show 22 years of playoffs and 7 regional championships, and I think we've got 4 runner-ups and two state titles. I said, other than those 2 teams, everyone else is sitting out in the crowd. There's only 2 teams sitting at the front table, and if you want to be one of them, this is what it's going to take. And our kids have bought into that mentality. Our kids have bought into, we want a seat at that table. We have an assistant coach on our staff who was the linebacker on our 16 team. And, the leadership that he gives our kids as far as what they went through and what it takes to win is invaluable. Certainly we may, the experience may not play a factor in that game, but our kids understanding what their role is here and what they're playing for, that makes a difference.
And on Friday night, it's going to feel an awful lot like a early October game instead of a early November game with Indian summer. And there's no place like home. And that's the ultimate advantage for you guys, having this game at Mollenkopf.
No doubt. That's for sure an advantage. The locker rooms we're familiar with, the facility we're familiar with, the bus ride over, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's nice to play at home. They got to travel probably close to an hour and 45 minutes to get here. So, yeah, it's nice to play at home. But you know what? At the end of the day, we earn that, and I tell our kids that all the time. We could have played a schedule that we could have maybe gone 6-0 and still not got the number 1 seed. We went, we go 4-2, and the schedule we played made everybody say, even though they have 2 losses, that's the number 1 seed in our region. And that's a credit to our kids because they were able to play that schedule, stay healthy, compete in that schedule, and get us the number 1 seed. They've earned this, and we make we make no apologies for the fact that we're 4-2 and we're the number 1 seed, because we look around and say, okay, play our schedule then, and let's see what your record is. And I think the rest of the region said the same thing. If we would have played that schedule, I'm not sure we're 4-2.
Hey, Coach, best of luck to you tomorrow night at Mollenkopf. I'll say it again. It's a damn shame that we have COVID going on right now, because tomorrow night Mollenkopf would be rocking with a lot of people. But the people that aren't going to be there, they're going to be there via ysnlive.com. And I cannot wait to see this one when you guys take on Lucas. This should be a great game.
Hey, you know what? We really appreciate the fact that you show that, because there's a lot of grandparents and uncles and aunts, and heck, my brother-in-law lives in Texas and he watches it on YSN. So we really appreciate the fact that you guys show our games. But you know what? At the end of the day, whether they're COVID or not, no matter how many people we're allowed to have in that stadium, I know one thing: our kids and their kids wouldn't care if we had to play in a parking lot at a mall and no one was allowed to be there. We're playing for a regional championship, and that's all that matters.
Exactly. Get a win tomorrow night, and let's get to the Final Four, Coach.
Okay, thank you very much.
You got it. Don Perlogo, the head football coach of the Warren JFK Eagles. The Eagles taking on the Lucas Cubs, the defending Division 7 Region 25 champs. Mollenkopf tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. We'll have the game. YSNlive.com, and, well, it's real simple. Go to YSNlive.com with the device you're planning on watching the game from, because you got to go to YSNlive.com, click on schools, click on Warren JFK, and then fill out your credit card information, and then tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, you'll be able to watch the JFK game against the Lucas Cubs. And again, the $9.99 investment, 25% of that will go directly to the Warren JFK Athletic Department. Sorry, we're going to take a timeout. On the other side, we're going to talk with Mike Pavlansky, head football coach of the Canfield Cardinals. They got a job to do tomorrow night in Chardon. The Canfield Cardinals taking on the Chardon Hilltoppers. We'll check in with Mike Pavlansky, the head football coach of the Canfield Cardinals, coming up after this timeout. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at ArmstrongNeighborhood.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. In Division 3, Region 9, that stacked region has come down to the final 2 teams, the Canfield Cardinals and the Chardon Hilltoppers. And tomorrow night from Chardon High School, Canfield will take on Chardon. And to talk about this game, we bring in the head football coach of the Canfield Cardinals, Mike Pavlansky. Coach Pavs, how are you today, sir?
Doing well, Ron. Thank you.
Okay, let's first, before we even talk about Chardon, I got to ask, because we're watching the game during Audible Call on ysnlive.com. So we've got all kinds of games going on, and we're watching the game against Streetsboro, and we're all looking at this game. You guys jump out to the 14-0 lead, and then I looked around and I said, this game's over. Look at what Streetsboro is doing. The kids have their hands on their hips. That the body language is all awful. Did you guys know when you went up 14-0, looking at the body language of Streetsboro, that they essentially said, we're done?
No, Ron, we really don't pay attention to the other team and their body language on sidelines or on the field. We're just concentrating on us. I'll give you a great example. Our kids played really well. We're up 24-0. We've given up 150 total yards to Streetsboro in 3.5 quarters.
the last 2 drives Streetsboro had, they went 80 yards for a touchdown and 66 yards before Connor Ritz had an interception. So on 2 drives, they duplicated what they did, what we held them to in the first 3.5 quarters. If you start looking at the other team and think the game's over with at this level, they're going to catch up in a hurry. And there's only one disappointing thing is that, we didn't finish the game last week like we started.
Well, you guys get the impressive victory nonetheless, and now you're taking on Chardon. And I seem to remember a few years ago you guys had a home-and-home with Chardon, and I did some investigation, and yeah, you guys played up in their place in 2017, Week 3 matchup, beat them 31-14. They came to your place a year later, 2 years ago, Week 3 matchup, 35-13. No history in the postseason, but you guys played them two years in a row, beat them 2 times. But obviously, your seniors were just freshmen in 2018.
Yeah, again, we've talked about that we have some familiarity as far as the coaching staff is concerned. Certainly our seniors and juniors have familiarity with them because they played them at the freshman level, and they certainly didn't turn out real well for us. Our seniors got beat 43-10. And then our juniors, when they were freshmen, they got beat 36-0. So, they understand the type of athlete and the type of competitor they're going to play against Friday night.
Did you have an opportunity to look back on film from 2018 and compare it to what they're doing today? Because I got to imagine that, are they the same? Are they different?
Yeah, they're the same. Mitch Hewitt has got himself the same staff and same head coach, obviously been there for a lot of years. Schematically, they're the same. And we certainly went back and looked at our, our 2017, 2018, along with the 3 tapes that we exchanged this week. And, everything schematically is the same. What's different is the caliber of athlete that they have this year. And, that makes them go.
Obviously, the caliber of athlete is a lot improved with Chardon, but having those 2 tapes, I mean, defensively, I'm just going to speak on the Canfield defense, which is absolutely incredible. Defensively, it's nice to have films from a team that plays similar to what they played when you played them in 2017 and 2018 from the perspective of, okay, we got to have our defensive guys in this particular position. Is that a plus for you guys, looking back on the film?
Yeah, I think it is, Ron. There's no doubt. And it's a plus for them, too, to look back on the film and, see where things went well for them and where things didn't go so well. And, even though we won the game both years in 17 and 18, it certainly wasn't a picnic, that's for sure. And they were 2 hard-fought games, but having the familiarity, having tapes, where you played against them certainly helps. I'll just give you another historical lesson. 2018, we're playing Kenston in the regional finals. We had played Kenston in 2015, 2016, Week 3, won both games, and Kenston rolled us in the regional final. So that's been made known to our kids, too. And, this is a different year. And we've got to concentrate on this year and not worry about what's happened in the past, either positive or negative.
What does Chardon bring to the table offensively and defensively that you haven't seen from other opponents in this playoff run that you guys are on?
Speed and physicality. Those are the 2 things that jump out at you on tape. And the third thing is they are much more complex defensively than the defenses we have faced in the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. They got a lot of different looks. They send linebackers from every different angle. It's going to be really important that our offensive line identify who they need to block, and it's certainly important for Brock Lowry to identify what type of pass protection we need to be in to protect them.
And obviously it's important for the quarterback to have the right read, and if you're throwing the ball, get it to the right person.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No doubt about that. They mixed coverages up very well. In 2017-18, when we played them, they were pretty much a cover 2 team. Today, you're seeing a lot of quarters coverage, a lot of cover 3, and some man splashed in. So, it's going to be important for Brock to understand how to identify coverages pre-snap and then, trust himself.
I was talking with Don Perlogo from Warren JFK, and they're going up against a team that is doing something that hardly any other team does, old school football from the. You're going to be taking on a team in Chardon that pretty much does the same thing, maybe a little wrinkle here or there. Is it easier to prepare for a team that exactly what's coming? You just basically have hope and pray the athletes on your team match the athletes on the opposing team?
Yeah, obviously when teams get into just a few formations, it's easier to sit down and prepare. The difficult thing is stopping them. Nobody stopped them yet this year, no matter how easy it looks on tape. They're averaging 43 points a ball game, just put up 31 points against a really good New Philadelphia defense. So easy to prepare, absolutely hard to stop and defend, twice as much.
The film that you had against, did you get the film against New Philadelphia?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay. We asked for their 3 playoff games. They asked for our 3 playoff games. And, we exchanged those tapes. And, what they did at New Philadelphia, to be honest with you, Ron, just really opened our eyes. I mean, our eyes were opened anyway. You're in a regional final. You're playing a great team. But to shut that offense out, we gave up 24 to that offense. We know what New Philadelphia's about. Matter of fact, we went back and just double-checked personnel to make sure, see if New Philadelphia is playing with different personnel in the game, because that's how dominating Chardon was. And it was the same personnel that played against us. Chardon took it to them, 48 minutes. They didn't stop. And, we've got a major challenge this week.
Would you prefer playing this game in the proverbial phone booth, where you're dictating the tempo and you're not going to allow them to spread the game out? Is Canfield a better team if you go into that scenario?
Yeah, we were certainly always a better team if we got the ball in our hands. Whether or not we're throwing it or running it, but as long as we're controlling the clock and controlling possessions, it's to our benefit. And somehow, some way, we've got to figure out a way offensively to keep their offense off the field, because if they get the ball in their hands, you may not get it back. They're that proficient, they're that efficient, running the football, moving the chains, and if it comes down to a possession ball game, we could be in some trouble.
Coach, what makes their offense go? Is it the fact that they have a gigantic offensive line moving bodies around, or is it the skill position players, or is it both?
It's both. I tell you, the number one thing that makes their offense go is how hard they play. Their offensive line come out hard, low, and nasty. We read an article this week where they just talk about being violent on the football field within the confine of the rules. And they certainly are a violent football team. And then you splash in the speed that Pettijohn has, that the quarterback has, the length the wideouts have at 6'4", 6'5", that when they want to throw a play-action pass, all they got to do is throw it up for a jump ball. They present a lot of problems.
Coach, well, I mean, your team defensively brings it too. You guys play some violent ball, and we all sit back and talk about the complexities of the skill position players and how you can spread everyone out. But I mean, you and I both know, and I think every football fan knows, the game starts and ends up front. If you dominate their offensive line, they're not going anywhere.
That's true. That hasn't changed in the history of football, Ron. And we've talked about that throughout the playoffs, really throughout the whole year, and certainly harping on it again this week to our young men that, the team that can control the offensive and defensive lines, going to have a great chance of winning this thing Friday night. And, there's a lot of other factors that go into it, but that's the number one factor.
And clearly, the down linemen, they do their job. The linebackers fill the holes, force them to throw the ball, and then let's see what happens. Now, the bad news is you got guys 6'4" and 6'5".
Yeah.
But the importance of having a secondary that's lengthy, but a secondary that gets after it. That's in today's game. Maybe not 30, 40 years ago when we were still 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but now in today's game. It is important to have active defensive backs.
Absolutely it is. And, what we need to do is force them to what we call play left-handed. We need them forced to throw the ball more than they want to throw it. And then when they do throw it, we've got to heat the quarterback up so he's not sitting in the pocket, throwing passes up to their 6'4", 6'5" guys. We've got to make him throw on the run and see how accurate he is.
Offensively, when you guys are going up against this Chardon defense, and obviously you've seen this team on film, you saw what they did against New Philadelphia, what are some of the things that you feel comfortable your team can do going into Friday night's game?
Well, obviously we've gotten to this level relying on our offensive line, that we're not going to run away from that. We're going to, run our offense and do what we've done best all year long, and then, find out how they're defending us and then make our adjustments from there, whether it be formationally or a different type of play, different type of scheme that we've worked on. You really don't know. It's nice to go into the game and say you're going to run the football, 80% of the time and throw it 20% of the time and be successful. You just don't know that until you get there and start playing.
Yeah, and when someone's stopping you cold for a couple of drives, you can now start throwing in a couple of wrinkles. Same formation, couple of wrinkles to change things. And I'm sure you guys aren't going to throw anything out the window. Rather, you're just going to do some wrinkles.
Yeah, absolutely. For every ball game, there's a few things that you want to try and take advantage of that you see on tape. And we've got a couple of wrinkles in ourselves. And again, when we need them, we'll pull them out and. Hopefully they'll be good enough for us.
When I saw that you guys were playing Chardon, the first thing that I thought of was, oh my goodness, this is win, lose, or draw. This is going to be a very, very physical game. Give me a lot of sore kids, win, lose, or draw, and hopefully happy sore kids after Friday night. But this. And we talked about this a few weeks ago, Coach. This is one of the reasons why I firmly believe whoever wins this game is going to have such an enormous advantage going into the state semifinals and hopefully the state championship game, because this region, and if you guys beat Chardon, and hopefully you do, knock on wood, you do, you come out of this region, my goodness, are you going to be prepared for anything that you face?
Yeah, our region is very difficult. We have no idea who's sitting on the other side of our brackets and where we're going to be playing if we're lucky to win the game Friday night. Because if you're looking towards next week, you're going to be handing your equipment in on Monday. We understand how physical of a region we're in. We've played Kenston and St. V's, and Streetsboro is a very physical game. We're still, recovering from that game. We've taken it from a physicality standpoint. We've taken it easy on our kids this week because we are still a beat-up football team. From a mental standpoint, it's been a great week mentally. We're running around. It's not like all walkthroughs. We're running around, having a great 2-hour workout. But the quick whistles have certainly been out during the playoffs because of how physical our region is.
I wanted to ask you that. The physicality of this region, I was going to ask how your practices have gone, because you can't go full bore, because you don't want to go full bore after a real physical last couple of weeks, going into what everyone thinks is going to be yet another physical game. So I was curious how your practices have gone this week in terms of lightening the load for the kids.
Yeah, they've gone very well, and I think our assistant coaches have done a great job of coming up with a game plan for practice each day. I don't think we're any different than any other team that's in the playoffs at this level. We're going out in just helmets and shoulder pads right now, and getting our work in at a high level, running around 100% speed, but just not tackling anybody. I think that's where you've got to be very careful. A college coach told me a long time ago, it's most important to get to Friday night healthy. To have a chance to win. If you lose guys in practice during the week, my goodness, it makes it real difficult to win.
Nerves are going to be at an all-time high. I'm sure you and the coaching staff and the players are all going to have the butterflies in their stomach. I mean, if you're not, you probably shouldn't even be playing this game. But it's not going to take too long before those butterflies get out of your system when the game starts.
Yeah, no doubt. And everybody should be nervous and have butterflies, but once our guys get out there on the first play offensively, defensively, and, crack some pads like they usually do, they'll realize this is just a football game, and, the better team that executes is going to win.
We've talked about the season of exercising some demons. You exercised a demon from a couple of years ago when you knocked off Kenston. You exercised another demon when you knocked off Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary. Here comes the third one. This is going to be Canfield's third trip to the regional championship game. You guys fell short against St. V's and Kenston. This is an opportunity to exercise perhaps the biggest demon of all the demons that you guys to this point have exercised. And I just think that Friday night, when this game is over, you guys will have a lot of happy faces knowing that you've played against a really good team and come away with it regional champs.
Boy, I hope you're right, Ron. It's going to take a will of an effort by our guys. And, certainly we're very proud of our program to be at this level for the third time in 4 years. And, I'm not too sure how many teams that are around the state or in the Valley can say that. It's a great credit to our kids, our assistant coaches, our administration, to allow us to achieve at this level. We're excited about it, and we're going to give our best effort to see what happens.
Third time's always a charm, Coach.
Boy, I hope so, Ron. I hope so.
Hey, good luck to you tomorrow night as you guys venture up to Chardon, taking on the Hilltoppers, and we hope to hear from you next week. That means that you're in the state semifinals playing either Tiffin Columbia or Parma Holy Name.
All right, that sounds like a plan, Ron. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much. All the best to you,
Thank
sir.
you.
You got it. Mike Pavlansky, the head football coach of the Canfield Cardinals, as Canfield is set to play Chardon tomorrow night up in Chardon. That's going to be a whale of a game. No two ways about it. And as we mentioned, look, Canfield's exercised 2 of the 3 demons this year. They knocked off Kenston, the team that cost them a 2018 regional championship. They knocked off St. Vincent St. Mary in the postseason, a team that cost them the 2017 championship. Now, let's exercise this third demon, and that is, here's Canfield's third opportunity at a bite of the apple. Third opportunity in the last 4 years, and hopefully the third time is a charm for the Canfield Cardinals. Take a timeout, be back with more. It is a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Back in a bit.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts. Boy is recovering from a broken.
Around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect.
It's important for everyone. No place like home.
More local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Attention football fans, order Coca's Pizza tailgate package for only $54.99. You'll receive 24 slices of our delicious cheese pizza, 20 jumbo wings, and 2 of our famous foot-long pepperoni rolls. Coca's Pizza, we serve it hot.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Your Armstrong services are more important than ever. There are more and more connected devices in the home these days. To get the most out of your experience, you need a network that is always getting better. You deserve superior performance, and that's what Armstrong offers every day. Whether you're working from home, enjoying your favorite content together, or simply catching up while apart, count on Armstrong to keep you connected to what matters most.
To Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years. I think whenever we go there, whatever car we're looking for, they have tremendous inventory.
If you're looking for people who care about you, Greenwood is the place to go.
You know, it's like family there. The girls know me in service. It's Miss Kim in the Tahoe.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
For heating, cooling, and indoor air quality, the Mahoning Valley trusts MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning, offering worry-free repair, service, and installation. Call MP Vivo today for a free estimate.
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. We're your energy-efficient experts.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. I got to backtrack a little bit with the chronological game of Canfield and Chardon because I made a boo-boo with where everyone was. God, I hate when this happens. In 2017, Canfield played Chardon. out in Chardon, 31-14. The senior class right now would be freshmen. I had made mention that the seniors weren't even in high school at that point. They were in 8th grade. No, that's not the case. This particular senior class would have been freshmen in 2017 when Canfield went to Chardon and beat the Hilltoppers 31-14. The next year, this senior class would have been sophomores, and the junior class would have been freshmen. The sophomore class and the freshman class would have been in junior high in 8th and 7th grade, respectively. The 2018 Canfield beat Chardon in Canfield 35-13. So the seniors would have been sophomores, and let's be honest, some of them would have, I would hope, most of them would have gotten playing time. Given the 22-point victory, most of them would have gotten playing time. So they have, in all likelihood, played against Chardon. But as Coach Pavlansky pointed out, this is not the Chardon of 2017 or 2018. They have got some really, really good athletes. And one has to be incredibly impressed with the way they handled New Philadelphia last week by shutting them out. That is that was oof. That's a lockdown performance there. So Canfield's they're that's gonna be a fun game. Make no two ways about it. And again, if Canfield wins, the winner of the Tiffin Columbia Parma Holy Name game awaits the winner of Friday night's game between Canfield and Chardon. Much like in D7, the winner of the JFK Lucas game gets the winner of Newark Catholic and Shadyside, and we could very well see a JFK Newark Catholic matchup, which I think would be fascinating. By the way, Division 5, the reason why Division 5 has not officially announced their semifinal opponent, and let me backtrack for a second, because the other two divisions that are in play locally, if Ursuline beats Mentor Lake Catholic, they will play the winner of St. Clairsville and Bloom Carroll Bloom, or Carroll Bloom Carroll, excuse me. Carroll Bloom Carroll. That's who Ursuline would get if they happen to beat Lake Catholic. Either St. Clairsville, the number 1 ranked team in the state, according to the AP, or Carroll Bloom Carroll. Division 6, if Springfield knocks off Creston Norwayne, they get the winner of Beverly Fort Fry and Proctorville Fairland. Beverly Fort Fry is the top seed out there, so wouldn't surprise me if that's the team that Springfield gets. Hopefully Springfield has that opportunity. They play Creston Norwayne in Division 6, the D6 Region 21 championship game. Region 17, Division 5, Region 17, they have not announced their they haven't announced any state semifinal in Division 5. And the reason for that is West Lafayette is going to be playing Ironton in the, I want to say, Division 5, Region 19 championship game. If Ironton beats West Lafayette, and by the way, Ironton's the top seed, they'll play this game in Ironton, which is a haul for West Lafayette. So they'll play that game down there. If Ironton wins that game, then my guess is if South Range beats Kirtland, they would play the winner of Tontogany and Pemberville Eastwood. Both of those programs are south of Toledo. Tontogany High School is southwest of Toledo, about 20 minutes further than Pemberville Eastwood. If Pemberville Eastwood sounds familiar to Raiders fans, it should. That was the team that South Range played in their one and only state semifinal appearance a few years ago. That was the team that South Range played. What was it, 2017 or 2016? One of those years where South Range won their regional championship. That was the team that they played in the state semifinals, Pemberville Eastwood. They're located south of Toledo. Tontogany is about 20 minutes to the west of Pemberville Eastwood, south and west of Toledo. That's who South Range would play. If they get past Kirtland, they would play the winner of this game if Ironton beats West Lafayette. If West Lafayette upsets Ironton, then the Toledo regional champ would go down I-75 to Cincinnati to take on that regional championship, because West Lafayette is just east of Coshocton. They're not west. They're east of Coshocton. They're located in the I-77 corridor, east of Coshocton, between Coshocton and I-77. They're about an hour and 50 minutes away from the Mahoning Valley. So if West Lafayette upsets Ironton, I'm about 99.99% sure that would be South Range's opponent if South Range knocks off Kirtland. That would be their opponent. If West Lafayette wins, that would be their opponent. And then the Toledo region would drive down I-75, and it's about, 2 hours, two and change from Toledo to Cincinnati. It's not that far. Where the Toledo region would drop down to I-75 or meet somewhere in the middle to have their neutral site game. Where West Lafayette, an hour and 50 minutes from the Mahoning Valley, that would be the opponent for South Range, Kirtland, whoever wins that game, and hopefully it's South Range. But if Ironton wins, then you can expect the winner of the Tuntagony-Pemberville Eastwood game to play South Range or Kirtland in a neutral sighting, which it could be anywhere. Mansfield would probably be one location because, Toledo, Mansfield is in between Toledo and the Mahoning Valley, and probably somewhere in that vicinity. You'd have to travel at least an hour and change. And if West Lafayette, well, you'd still have to travel south, but I don't think you'd have to travel all that far. Not as far as Mansfield. Because if West Lafayette is the team, New Philadelphia, Dover, keep in mind, you're only, you can only put 1,500 people in the stands. So, hell, they can go to any high school that has turf. Because, like I said, it's not like you're going to be able to fill the stands. You can't. Unfortunately, you're only going to be playing in front of 1,500 people, and that's it. So, you don't necessarily have to go to a big facility. You can go to any facility as long as they have turf. My guess is they're going to have a neutral site, but again, the OHSAA is not going to have to rent out a monstrosity stadium because you're only putting 1,500 people into the stadium, if that. So there you go. All right, congratulations to Howland yesterday, pulling off the victory over Bay Village Bay Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock in the D2 Soccer Regional Title game. They're going to take on Chagrin Falls over at Howland. That is a 3 o'clock match from Howland High School. The winner of that game gets to play the winner of Lexington and Lima Shawnee Wednesday night, Veterans Night. Wednesday night, November the 11th, 7 o'clock. Is the game time at a place to be determined. We're not quite sure what the OHSAA is going to do in the state semifinals in soccer. We made mention in the noon hour last night's round one of the South Range Kirtland trilogy goes to the South Range Raiders. They knock off Kirtland in double overtime last night, 2-1. As the South Range boys will be taking on Cardinal Mooney. Mooney, a 4-0 victory over Creston Norwayne. So Mooney and South Range will be playing. And again, I want to make sure that everyone is aware of the scheduling changes that have taken place in the last 24 hours from the OHSAA. The Mooney South Range boys soccer regional championship game is going to be played at South Range High School at 3 o'clock. And because of that, the South Range girls game against Kirtland, it was supposed to be played at South Range. It's not going to be played at South Range. It's going to be played at Menor High School on Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Now, I have no idea if Menor High School has a separate soccer facility. One would assume that they do because, well, let me follow that up by saying the third meeting between South Range and Kirtland is happening at Menor High School Saturday night. The football teams are going to be playing each other with a D5 Region 17 championship on the line, and the game time is at 7 o'clock. Now, if you're playing South Range and Kirtland Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock in girls soccer, and they're playing on the football field, assuming that Menor doesn't have a soccer facility and they're playing on the football field, okay, then that game is over. Trophies are handed out. Awards are handed out to the players. You're probably done by, 5:30? You're cutting it kind of close. And aren't you cutting it kind of close? Because, you're going to be bringing those soccer fans out. You're going to be bringing in the football fans, not to mention the fact you're bringing in the football teams. Kind of cutting it close. So I got to assume that Menor has a soccer facility. Otherwise, there's going to be some tight quarters with the South Range girls playing Kirtland for a D3 regional championship at Menor beginning at 3. And, oh, by the way, 4 hours later, the South Range boys are to be playing Kirtland for the D5 Region 17 championship at the same facility. So hopefully there is a soccer facility at Menor. Otherwise, man, that's some tight quarters right there. Anyway, South Range and Kirtland, middle game of the trilogy between South Range and Kirtland. It'll be played Saturday at 3 o'clock at Menor High School. The D3 Soccer Regional Championship is on the line. Meanwhile, the D3 Boys Soccer Regional Championship will be played at South Range High School on Saturday afternoon as South Range will play Cardinal Mooney. The winner of that Mooney-South Range game gets the winner of Toledo-Ottawa Hills and Mount Blanchard Riverside. That game would be played on Veterans Day night, Wednesday night, November the 11th, 7 p.m. at a place to be determined. Later. All right, girls Division IV regional volleyball tournaments. We get 2 local teams left. Wellsville will be taking on Monroeville this afternoon at Uniontown Lake High School over in the suburbs of Canton. Wellsville playing Monroeville. That game starts at 5:30. And then at 7:30 tonight, Dalton will be playing Mineral Ridge. And because of the supersized districts where they've mashed up two districts into one, we have an opportunity for something to happen for a second time, which would be an all-local regional championship. And I'm going to scoot back for a little bit. If you hadn't had the mashed-up districts, South Range would have played Mooney for a district championship instead of what they're doing now, playing for a regional championship. So some people, when the 2 supersized districts came out, some folks were wondering, I don't know if I like this or not. Like it or not, one of the cool things that have come out of this is that we have an all-local regional championship where now we're guaranteed one team to go into the Final Four in boys soccer. And as we skip down to D4 volleyball, which is going on tonight, Wellsville and Monroeville at 5:30, Dalton, Mineral Ridge at 7:30. If Wellsville and Mineral Ridge both win, we have a regional championship, an all-local regional championship, which would mean we have a team that's guaranteed to go to the Final Four in volleyball. And we haven't had very much success in the regionals in volleyball. Good Lord, if we have an all-regional D4 championship, we're guaranteed something that we haven't seen in a while. And that's a team going down to Columbus or going to the Final Four in volleyball. We haven't had that in a while. D3 volleyball regional tonight from Barberton High School. And again, for those wondering, Barberton is a little south and a little west of Akron, glorified suburb. Kirtland will be taking on Independence at 5:30. Smithville will be taking on Crestview at 8 o'clock. If Crestview wins, the regional championship will be Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock from Barberton High School. So best of luck to the Crestview Rebels trying to win a regional semifinal matchup with Smithville, as that game will be played tonight at 8 o'clock from Barberton High School. And if Crestview wins, they take on the winner of the Kirtland Independence game. And that'll be played on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Again, skipping back to Uniontown Lake High School, that is the site for the D4 regional tournaments in volleyball. Wellsville plays Monroeville at 5:30. The winner of that game gets the winner of Dalton and Mineral Ridge. We made mention this could be an all-local regional championship game. The regional title game, Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock from Uniontown Lake High School. So we have a regional championship game on Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock between Cardinal Mooney and South Range in the boys D3 soccer region. And we have a regional championship in boys Division II soccer, as Howland will be playing Chagrin Falls from Howland High School. And hopefully we will have 2 regional championship games in volleyball. Hopefully, and I'm going to be greedy, hopefully we have a Wellsville Mineral Ridge regional title game on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock from Uniontown Lake High School. And hopefully the Crestview girls will be playing a D3 regional championship game against the winner of Kirtland and Independence on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock from Barberton High School. And again, to achieve that, Crestview has to get past Smithville in the D3 volleyball regional. For Wellsville and Mineral Ridge to achieve it, Wellsville has to get past Monroeville this afternoon at 5:30 at Uniontown Lake High School, and Mineral Ridge has to get past Dalton tonight at 7:30 from Uniontown Lake High School. And again, with these two regions, with the two districts mushing together to form one super district, we might have an opportunity to see 2 all-local regional championship games. And I made mention of this in the noon hour. The mashing of the 2 districts together ain't going away anytime soon. From what I understand, we're going to have this as long as we have a problem with COVID. As long as COVID is still hanging around, we're going to have that format in girls and boys basketball when we get into late February and into March. And there's a pretty good chance that we have this format, the 2 districts mashing together into one district, a super district. So who knows what happens, but that's a little ways down the road. But there's a pretty good chance that we have this format into the winter sports, i.e. girls and boys basketball. All right, we'll take a timeout, be back with more. It's a Thursday edition of Running Point presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. We're back with more of a Thursday edition of Running Point. MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open for business, 330-886-0813. Back in a bit.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Rain will come and go tomorrow. There'll be some dry intervals.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
No matter what the weather, be prepared with a reliable, efficient Ruud gas furnace or air conditioner from MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Call your energy-efficient expert, MP Vivo, today for a free estimate.
Here at MP Vivo, we rely on Ruud, and so should you.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions, reminding you that it is open enrollment for Medicare.
Now through December 7th, those who qualify can visit our local independent agency by calling us at 330-953-3722 or visiting us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
2020 will be a season like we've never seen before, but 21 Sports and YSN will be there for every key moment. The plays, the players, and the stories that will headline this season. Delivered by 21 Sports and YSN.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plan still meets your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
You may find yourself in some difficulty this winter. Don't get whacked by high heating bills. Call Michael at MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning. Michael is a trusted friend who will be able to help you with many things, like getting a 95% high-efficiency furnace this winter from Ruud. Michael relies on Ruud, so should you. Call MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning for a free estimate, 330-259-0486, and take care of your heating and air situation.
I went to Greenwood Chevrolet because I was really interested in looking at the tracks.
Because I wanted my dream truck.
Because I've been going there for 20 years.
I'm really happy that I went
to Greenwood Chevrolet.
Because they really went
the extra mile for me.
Now we're going the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. 13, that's 330-886-0813. Again, best of luck to Wellsville, Mineral Ridge, and Crestview. Hopefully, all three teams will be victorious tonight. The D4 Volleyball Regional from Uniontown Lake High School. Wellsville playing Monroeville at 5:30. Dalton will be playing Mineral Ridge at 7:30. D3 volleyball regional from Barberton High School. Smithville will be playing Crestview at 8 o'clock. Should Wellsville, Mineral Ridge, or Crestview win, they'll be in the regional title game. Regional title game in the D4 region will be from Uniontown Lake High School Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Should Crestview win the D3 regional semifinal matchup against Smithville tonight, they'll play in a regional title game Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. at Barberton High School. And I want to say that this game was originally set to be at South Range. I might be wrong on this, but I swear I thought I saw that the girls' D3 soccer regional title game was to have been played at South Range High School. I might be wrong on this. I could have sworn that I thought that I read this game was at South Range High School. If it was, it's been moved. The D3 Soccer Regional Championship game, that game is going to be played at Menor High School Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So that game is going to be played at Menor High School. I went on the OHSAA website, I had to actually do a triple look to make sure that I wasn't looking at the Division 5 Region 17 football championship game. So I had to do this like 3 separate times. The girls' D3 soccer regional championship game between South Range and Kirtland is going to be played Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock from Menor High School. And again, I have no knowledge whether or not Mentor has a separate facility for their soccer team. If they're playing on the football field, you got to wonder, okay, the South Range Kirtland football game is set to be played Saturday night at Menor High School at 7 o'clock. One would think that if you're going to be playing on Saturday at Menor to play a soccer game, one would think that you better be playing in a separate facility. Otherwise, okay, if this game starts at 3, are you done by 5? Do you have the trophy presentation and all that other stuff done by, 5:15? What happens if this game goes into overtime? What happens if this game goes into a shootout? What happens if this game is 3 hours long? Are you holding up the Division 5 Region 17 championship game? I'm hoping that Menor High School has a soccer facility for the kids so they can get their moment in the sun, and hopefully these kids are not shooed away real quick when the game is over to make sure that we're ready for the football game, because it doesn't seem right. Regardless, South Range and Kirtland, the D3 Soccer Regional Championship game in girls soccer is going to be played Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock from Menor High School. On Saturday afternoon at South Range High School, the South Range boys and Cardinal Mooney will be taking on each other in the D3 Regional Championship game in soccer. And again, congratulations to South Range and Mooney. We have an all-local regional championship game. I can only count on one hand, and I can only use one finger, and it's not the finger that you use when you want to be mad. It's the index finger. We don't use the other finger next to it. I can only count on one finger the all-regional championship that I've ever seen. Doesn't happen very often. We get an all-regional championship thanks in large part to the 2 districts mashing together into one supersized district. So South Range and Mooney will play each other for the D3 Soccer Championship, Regional Championship at South Range Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And Howland will be hoping to win a regional championship Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Howland, off their 1-0 victory over Bay Village Bay, they get Chagrin Falls, who knocked off Richland Revere 1-0. So Chagrin Falls makes a trip to Howland on Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock with the Division II Soccer Regional title up for grabs. We'll take a final timeout, be back to wrap it up. Stick around, more to come.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
Armstrong Local Programming has always delivered an exclusive and unique perspective on the very best events your region offers. High school sports, community events, parades, all your favorite shows from Armstrong are now calling the Neighborhood Channel their home.
Watch Out and About, Locally Speaking, and many other great local shows right here on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.
Find out everything that the Neighborhood Channel has to offer at ArmstrongNeighborhood.com. Spirit, town pride, local communities. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Right now is a great time to get more for your trade-in at Tri-State Ford and drive home in a new or pre-owned vehicle. Choose from our great selection of new Ford models or pre-owned vehicles. Plus, get the Tri-State Ford Advantage, including a 10-year, 200,000-mile warranty and more. At Tri-State Ford, we'll pay you top dollar for your trade, but you don't have to purchase one of ours to sell us yours.
Customer focus, community driven. Tri-State Ford East Liverpool or visit tristateford.net.
Welcome back to a Thursday edition of Running Points on YSNLive.com, presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Tomorrow, it's a Football Friday edition of Running Points. Only 2 teams will be playing on Friday. Canfield taking on Chardon for a D3 Region 9 championship, and then D7 Region 25 JFK will be taking on Lucas over at Mollenkopf Stadium. Canfield will be journeying to Chardon. Saturday nights, Ursuline will play Mentor Lake Catholic from Stambaugh. Springfield will be home, taking on Creston Norwayne in D6, and in D5, South Range will be traveling to Kirtland. And hopefully we'll have as many of the high school coaches on tomorrow. We only have 3, Springfield, Ursuline, and South Range. Hopefully we'll get all 3 coaches on tomorrow, and we'll preview the games on Saturday, and we'll talk about the games that are going to be taking place tomorrow night. Canfield and Chardon, JFK hosting Lucas, and that'll be tomorrow between noon and 3 on YSNLive.com. Coming up next, well, in about 5 minutes, it's Power Hour. DJ and the boys are going to be having some fun doing what they do, and we will talk tomorrow from noon to 3 for a Friday edition, a Football Friday edition of Running Points, all presented by Greenwood Chevrolet on Mahoning Avenue in Austintown. Talk to you then.